Hello, my name is Peggy Berry, and I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of the Greater Dayton area. I am here today with candidates running for state representative of the 36th district. The candidates are Addison Caruso, John Biller, and Andrea White. Representative White had a previous commitment and will not be joining us today. We will start our interview by giving the candidates 1 minute to tell us about themselves and why they want to serve as state representative of the 36th district. Mr. Caruso, will you please start?
Of course. Thank you. First off, thank you very much, Peggy, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this candidate forum. I really appreciate you giving me the platform to speak to you all and tell you all a little bit about myself. My name is Addison Caruso, and I'm the Democratic candidate for state representative in the 36th district. And I'm running because, frankly, I'm disappointed and frustrated with the divisive and radical policies that the state legislature in Columbus is passing. They've passed things like permitless carry, arming teachers, that 6-week abortion ban, and then the whole gerrymandering crisis that cost taxpayers over $20 million just to hold 2 primaries and to pass repeatedly unconstitutional maps. We need state representatives who want to be public servants and want to represent everyday Ohioans and not a radical few. And I believe I can be that state representative. We need change up in Columbus. And I'm always one who says, if you're going to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. So when this opportunity presented itself, I decided to jump in since we have a real opportunity to hold our current state legislator accountable and hold Republicans in Columbus accountable. And we can do that.
Thank you, Mr. Caruso. Mr. Biller?
Hi, thank you so much for having me here, Peggy. I really appreciate it. Very excited, a little nervous. So a bit about me. I'm running as a write-in candidate for District 36. Much like Addison, I've been a bit frustrated by the divisive nature of our politics, but more importantly, I don't feel that the people are adequately represented in our government. It's clear that the political parties are and large companies are, but I don't see anybody fighting for the average person. So I'm here to do that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, both of you. I will ask each candidate the same question. You will have 2 minutes to speak to each question, and then I will move to the next candidate and give them 2 minutes to respond. Mr. Biller, the first question is, what is your view of the way redistricting has proceeded in Ohio this year? What will you do to ensure district maps are drawn as required by the Ohio Constitution?
So it was very upsetting to see that our state legislators couldn't actually follow the Ohio Constitution. And it was even more upsetting that the federal government had to step in and mandate and dictate what we were going to do as a state. In 2015, Ohio voters clearly stood up and said, we want a non-biased, fair redistricting process. And what we got was not that. I mean, there were rumors from everything from the Democratic candidates were left out of the redistricting process and the map drawing, and the Supreme Court of Ohio, basically said it was they said it was unconstitutional 4 times. We really need to put a stop to that. What am I going to do to fix that? I mean, certainly we could put forth a bill to change the Ohio Constitution, but what we need to do is we need to elect people that are going to fight for fair policy and fair representation of the people, not the parties. I mean, this is a problem no matter if you're Democrat or Republicans. Whenever the parties get in charge, they play games like this, and it's not fair to the common person. So what we need to do is we need to stand up, we need to rally together, and we need to say that we've had enough of this. And that's the only thing we can do. The power lies with the people at this point, and we need to voice our opinions.
Thank you, Mr. Biller. Mr. Caruso, same question. What is your view of the way redistricting has proceeded in Ohio this year? What will you do to ensure that district maps are drawn as required by the Ohio Constitution?
Yeah, in one word, it was infuriating. I got to see this from both sides. I was a fellow this past fall at the Ohio Environmental Council, which was very involved in the redistricting saga and submitted briefs on behalf of passing fair maps. And then I got to see this from the candidate side as well, and having to wait through the months to see what my final maps would be. The amount of money it costs was frustrating, the delays, the stalling tactics, it was just pure politics, and the Republican Party ignored the will of the Ohio voters when they passed these amendments overwhelmingly. And one thing I would do in office is hopefully we can have a Democratic majority so we can have some more control in the redistricting commission and pass fair maps. But I think there's a lot that state legislators can do short of that too. As a state legislator, given a platform, a bully pulpit, so to speak out on these issues. And I was disappointed to see not a lot of state legislators use that platform to speak out and call out the unconstitutional process. Being a bystander is making a choice. And there are a lot of current state legislators who are bystanders in this process and weren't calling out the unconstitutional nature of these proceedings. And we need more state legislators to do that. And also I would, encourage the Supreme Court to hold the redistricting commissioners who didn't follow the process in contempt. And I would hope that the Supreme Court ends up doing that.
Thank you, Mr. Caruso. Mr. Caruso, I'm going to ask you the second question. How do you see legislators' role in determining curriculum and policy for local school districts?
So I think legislators and the state legislator and specifically should be allies of the local school boards, the parents and teachers who have the best idea of what's going on in the classroom and the best idea of the curriculum that should be taught to the students. Too often you see the state legislator come in with a very top-down approach and they want to dictate what should be taught and not work with the people who know what should the best outcome and what should be taught. So I think the state legislator should come in that collaborative role. At the end of the day, I think collaboration is the best. And as I said, the people who know what is best for the students are the teachers, local school board, and the parents, as they're the ones who are intimately involved in the classroom and the teaching every day. And they should be the ones chiefly involved with the state coming in a supportive role and as an ally, not somebody dictating from the top down what should be going on in the classroom.
Thank you, Mr. Caruso. Mr. Biller, same question. How do you see the legislator's role in determining curriculum and policy for local school districts?
So I think it's the job of the state legislature to pass policy that supports and remove barriers of the Board of Education and our students. We absolutely need a minimum curriculum or a minimum standard on curriculum set, and that needs to be done at the state level. Past that, I don't think policy and what we're teaching our children should be dictated by the state. I certainly don't think that the state should have any role in banning or limiting content of what is taught in our schools. This is a local matter, and people in the local districts need to determine what their students are learning, not state legislature. Now, I graduated from Columbus Public Schools in a failing school system, and I received what I would consider a poor education. And I don't blame the teachers for that, but I do blame some of the state standards that we had put in place. No kid left behind, for an example. Kids are taught, in school, and over the course of the week, you learn a lesson. And whether you failed that lesson or you mastered that lesson, the following Monday, you're moving on to the next. We need to start teaching for mastery. There are places like Khan Academy or organizations like Khan Academy that are really doing some incredible and amazing things for education. And we need to start taking a look at what they're doing and modernizing our education system for a 21st century. We need a world-class education to compete with countries like China that are investing in their education and plan to have the best education in the world. We need something that competes with that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Biller. Mr. Biller, I will ask you this third question. What is your position on women's reproductive rights and health?
Ultimately, I believe that a woman's reproductive rights and her medical care is between her and her doctor, and this is protected by the laws such as HIPAA. It shouldn't be the state or concerned citizens shouldn't be dictating what happens with somebody's health. Saying that, I think there needs to be more conversation around abortion, and that's something that we can't do here in 2 minutes, but ultimately this needs to be left up to the women to make their own choices.
Well, thank you, Mr. Biller. Mr. Caruso, same question. What is your position on women's reproductive rights and health?
Yeah, so I think that the decision to get an abortion, that's between a woman and her doctor. The state shouldn't really play a role in that. And I was actually recently endorsed by Planned Parenthood and a proud pro-choice candidate. And I think the state should generally stay out of it, but reproductive health goes beyond just abortion as well. It involves providing tampons, sex education, contraceptives, and making those more readily available too. So I think the state needs to take a role in that and being more, I guess, assertive, or I shouldn't say assertive necessarily isn't the right word, but be more proactive in promoting things like that too, and promoting reproductive health for women and for men as well, and all genders as well, just since that's important for the state to step in and do that, since it goes beyond that as well. And reproductive health affects everyone too.
Thank you so much. In closing, we would like to provide each candidate with a minute for a closing statement. Mr. Caruso?
Again, thank you all for giving me a platform and for giving me the opportunity to speak and introduce myself to you all and many of the great league members and just voters in general. I really appreciate it. As I said, I think we have a real shot to win this race. It's the most competitive district in the Dayton area and one of the most competitive in the state. So it's a real chance to hold Republicans and the state legislator accountable. And we can have legislators that in Columbus who want to represent everyday Ohioans and not a radical few. This is a chance to do some good in the state, hold them accountable, and to pass good policies that help everyone. And I think we can do it. And I would hope that you vote for me November 8th.
Thank you. Mr. Biller?
Yeah, and thank you for the opportunity to get my name out there and start telling people what I'm about. So I really appreciate that. What I want people to know is I'm here to fight for you. And I promise to keep you informed on the current issues our elected officials are debating. More importantly, I'll keep you informed on the solutions and options in front of us, no matter which side of the party or which side of the aisle they come from. I am running a write-in self-funded campaign, so I would appreciate it if you like what I'm saying. Go to my website and learn more about me and make a small donation so we can help get the word out.
All right, thank you. Thank you both for your participation today. Good luck with your campaigns. The League of Women Voters encourages all candidates to run an issues-oriented campaign. Our goal is to educate the voting public and strengthen our elective political process. The annual Voters Guide will be distributed in mid-October in the Dayton Daily News, AIM Media, suburban newspapers, La Vanguardia, and local libraries, schools, and businesses. Early voting for the upcoming election begins October 12th at your Board of Elections, or you can request an absentee ballot. However you decide to vote, your opinion matters and helps make our democracy work. Thank you.